More than 120 million people visit Florida each year for its miles of coastline, crystal clear springs, and of course, its theme parks. From reefs to forests, Florida's got it all. To appreciate more of Florida, we've gathered our favorite traits of the Sunshine State. Florida is one of the most biodiverse regions in the U.S. and world. Florida's 80 distinct ecosystems are home to at least 4,368 animal species and 3,038 plant species, including 269 endemic species, which means they aren't found anywhere else in the world. Some iconic examples of Florida's endemic species include the Florida bonneted bat, the Florida scrub jay, and the Florida mouse. Florida may have the lowest elevation of anywhere in the country, but the state's geologic history is anything but flat. For a long time, Florida's landmass was below a warm, shallow ocean, which makes it a hot spot for shark teeth fossils. These fossils are the only vertebrate fossil you can collect in Florida without a permit, as long as you follow local regulations. Just like humans, many animals like whales, birds, turtles, and insects migrate to Florida during certain times of the year for our mild climate and diverse habitats, making it a migration destination. Every winter, North Atlantic right whales return to the coast of North Florida and South Georgia from their feeding grounds in northeast Canada and New England. Monarch butterflies stop at spots like Amelia Island State Park and St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge on their migration south to Mexico. During the late spring and early summer, several species of sea turtles migrate to Florida shores to lay their eggs, including the loggerhead, green, and leatherback sea turtles. Florida is also along the Atlantic Flyway, which is a prominent migratory bird pathway from the Arctic tundra in Greenland to the tropical areas of South America and the Caribbean. Florida has amazing beaches and wetlands featuring rolling white sand dunes, serene marsh grasses, and sturdy mangroves along its entire coastline. These habitats support a variety of plants and wildlife, attract visitors from around the world, and come especially in handy during our lengthy hurricane season. This is because they protect coastal communities from sea level rise, storms, and beach erosion, serving as barriers between the wild ocean currents and the shore. Oyster reefs and salt marshes around the Florida coast have spent thousands of years adapting and developing resilience to hurricane-level weather conditions. In fact, research shows that natural shorelines are more effective at preventing storm damage than a hardened shoreline like a seawall. Florida is home to the only living coral reef in the continental U.S. Stretching 350 miles along the Atlantic coast of the state, Florida's coral reefs act as nurseries, providing proper habitat for fish and other species to safely grow, including economically important fish we catch and consume. Coral reefs are also scientifically important, with many advances in science and medicine stemming from creatures that live in the coral reefs. Snorkeling and diving are popular tourism activities associated with reefs, and healthy reefs help protect the Florida coastline from erosion and flooding. Florida has the largest concentration of freshwater springs in the world, and each hosts a wide variety of life in their ecosystems. A stable temperature in the springs throughout the year allows native plants such as bald cypress trees and eelgrasses to grow and thrive. Animals such as alligators and river otters live in and around Florida springs, as well as dozens of fish species like long-nosed gar, bluegill sunfish, and striped mullet. Florida's natural resources have supported humans for thousands of years. More than a dozen Native American tribes have called Florida home, and while each has its own cultures and customs, the one thing they have all relied on is the state's abundant water resources. Many indigenous tribes, like the Calusa, Timucua, and Tequesta, relied on the state's vast wetlands for fishing and foraging. Florida has one of the most active prescribed fire programs in the country. Fire is an ecological necessity of many unique Florida habitats, from our swamps to pine forests. Responsible burning even mitigates the threat of extreme wildfires. The collection of distinct habitats and diverse wildlife makes Everglades National Park one of a kind. Uniquely, the Everglades is the only place in the world where crocodiles and alligators live together. The park also has a long history of conservation and restoration, from those who fought for the land's protection 80 years ago to the modern-day restoration projects.
This holiday season, we encourage you to practice gratitude for all the wonders that make the Sunshine State a unique paradise worth preserving.